In ancient times, in the heart of a majestic mountain valley, there lived a wise man named Ari. He did not wear lavish robes and did not build temples. His home was silence, and his book was nature. People from all around came to him for advice. He rarely spoke much, but every word he uttered sounded like a verdict or salvation. One morning, as the sun had just begun to cast its rays on the slopes, Ari was walking along a narrow path leading to the stream. The air was filled with coolness and the scent of grass, and everything around seemed peaceful, as if nature itself was breathing in unison with his step. And suddenly, he heard a muffled squeak, almost inaudible, yet persistent. Turning around, he saw a strange scene. A snake, covered in dust, was writhing in a trap. Its body was wounded, but even in suffering it looked magnificent. Its eyes shone with intelligence. It was a rare mountain cobra, about which the locals spoke in whispers and with superstitious fear. It was considered a harbinger of misfortune, the embodiment of deceit and sudden death. Ari gazed at it for a long time. He knew snakes are cunning creatures. They strike not out of hatred, but by their very nature. Their bite is not revenge, but instinct. And yet, compassion stirred within him. He felt that before him was not just an animal, but a creature caught in a trap, no matter how much the snake's reputation frightened him. He took a stick, carefully pried open the trap, and set it free, watching every movement as if already bidding farewell to his own hand. For a long time it did not move, and then, as if realizing it was free, it crawled toward him. It seemed grateful. It coiled around his arm, not threatening, but calm. The wise man took it to his dwelling, treated its wounds, gave it water, and fed it. Days passed like this. People were surprised. "Why are you keeping a snake?" they asked. "It's dangerous. It could kill you." Ari replied, "Not every snake is venomous, and not every poison kills. Some poisons are merely tests for the heart." But one early morning, the thing happened that everyone expected, but were afraid to say out loud. The sage was sitting by the stream when the snake, the very one he had saved quietly, crept up behind him and bit him on the neck. The poison acted quickly. He felt his whole body go numb, but he did not cry out. He simply looked at the snake and, to the astonishment of the gathered people, said, "I knew this would happen." "Then why did you save it?" exclaimed a young man who always came to him for guidance. "Why did you give it a chance?" The sage smiled faintly. "I saved it because that is who I am, and it bit me because it is a snake." His voice grew quieter. "Do not be mistaken. Forgiveness is a virtue, but to forgive those who sting you every time you reach out your hand is no longer a virtue, but foolishness." He fell silent, and a few moments later he died. But the story did not end there. The rumors of the sage's death spread across the world like wildfire through dry grass. People were furious. They caught the snake, wanting to burn it, to tear it apart. Anger boiled in everyone. After all, he had been kind to her. He gave her a chance, and she repaid him with death. But the village elder, a thoughtful silver-haired man with eyes reflecting the quiet of his years, raised his hand and stopped them. "Leave her be," he said calmly. "The wise man has already given his life, but he left us knowledge. His death is not a defeat, it is a lesson." "But she's dangerous," the people shouted. "Yes," the old man replied, "and that is the whole point. The wise man did not try to change the snake. He showed us that kindness born of indifference is not a virtue, but an invitation to disaster. He sacrificed himself not for her sake, but for ours." So the snake was released, and from then on people in the area began to say, "If you meet a snake, don't be quick to show kindness. Sometimes a snake is not a symbol, but a warning." Not everyone asks for forgiveness to start with a clean slate. Some ask for forgiveness just to strike again, and even more painfully. Many years passed. The boy who witnessed the bite grew up. He himself became wise and respected. His name was Nedar. He lived simply, just as Ari once did. But his heart was not only kind, but also resolute. He understood. Compassion does not always mean salvation. One day, a man came to his village, a deceiver, a flatterer with smooth words and empty eyes. He asked to stay in Nedar's house, saying he was tired and needed help. Nedar looked at him in silence. "Why are you silent?" the traveler asked. "Don't you believe in mercy?" And then Nedar said, "I believe in mercy, but I also remember the snake." "What snake?" the man asked in surprise. "The one that was saved and bit in return." The traveler turned pale and realized that his words had not worked. Standing before him was a man who knew. Forgiveness is not an obligation, it is a right. And some people do not deserve even a single chance, because every chance they get they use to make things worse. Sometimes we think that being kind means forgiving everything. We are taught, forgive and you will be forgiven. But there is a fine line. There are those who, once forgiven, pick up the knife again. Not to defend themselves, but to strike once more. And they justify every blow. After all, you forgive, don't you? So that means it's allowed. They don't need forgiveness, they need access. The opportunity to get close again, to pretend again, to sting again. That's why the parable of the snake is not just a story. It's a mirror. It shows that not everyone who is forgiven can change. Some change their mask, but not their essence. Some only learn how to strike even harder next time. Sometimes you need to stop and ask yourself, am I the one holding the snake in my hand, hoping it will turn into a dove, who shouldn't be forgiven? You shouldn't forgive those who regret not what they did, but the fact that they got caught. Because their regret is not repentance, but fear of being exposed. You shouldn't forgive those who repeat evil under the guise of a mistake, covering up deliberate cruelty with pretty words. You shouldn't forgive those who put on a mask of kindness just to get closer and sting you again when you become vulnerable. Such people do not change, they simply lie low. Forgiveness should be a remedy, not a weapon used against yourself. It should not become a ticket to new wounds inflicted by the same hands. Because every time you forgive a snake, you take away your own chance to be alive, to be cautious, to be whole. Sometimes forgiveness is an act of love toward another, but sometimes it is a betrayal of yourself. And in such moments, wisdom lies not in forgiving, but in closing the door forever. The sage Arya did not die with hatred in his heart. He left with understanding. He did not curse the snake. He simply called things by their proper names. He did not seek revenge. He left behind knowledge. His silence spoke more than any words could. And his forgiveness was not a weakness. It was a choice made once and for all. He did not fight the nature of evil. He simply refused to feed it. And his final phrase became a message. Forgive when forgiveness heals. But never forgive those who use your kindness as a reason to attack. A snake can be beautiful. Its scales may shine. Its voice may sound like music. Its touch may seem gentle. But if it bites again, it is not an accident, it is its nature. And you don't argue with nature, you walk away from it. Sometimes wisdom is not in saving, but in walking past, in order to preserve not only your life, but also your dignity. If you feel that these words resonate in your heart, subscribe to the channel. You'll find a lot of useful things here. And also, leave a like and a comment on this video, I'll be very grateful to you for that.